Everyone taking the time to be here today. I'm Senator John Flanagan. I'm the minority leader of the New York State Senate, and I'm very fortunate to be joined by a number of my colleagues today. Our good friend and the Dean of the delegation and the Dean of the Senate, Senator Ken LaValle from the 1st District. He is flanked to his left by our County Controller, John Kennedy, our colleague, Senator Phil Boyle, Legislator Silmy, Legislator Trotter, Legislator Miraturi, Legislator Kennedy, and of course Assemblyman Palumbo. A number of our colleagues up here will be speaking, but here we are the day after Labor Day. And I'm like everybody else. I was out there driving today. You see a lot more buses, you see a lot more cars, you see a lot more people on the road, the hiatus from the summer, and now everyone's back to work. So part of what we're trying to do is highlight the laws in the state of New York. Some of the new laws that are really bad public policy for the driving public, for the tax-paying public, for our colleagues who work in government, and all of us. A number of our candidates happen to be in a cycle where they're running for office this year. They're out on the streets talking to people. They know what they hear vis-a-vis New York State and what's going on in the state. So specifically, we want to talk about advancing a piece of legislation that will help protect state employees. And I want to explain very clearly and very simply why. In this past legislative session, there were a series of unmitigated disasters that befell the public that were advanced by the Assembly Democrats and the Senate Democrats, and the governor signed all these bad pieces of legislation into law. Now our county colleagues are here, and they're going to live with the ramifications of a lot of those laws that were passed. The law that we're referencing indirectly, we all voted against in Albany, and very happily so on behalf of the people that we represent. So Senator Sepulveda, Assemblyman Crespo advanced legislation that is really benevolent and really helpful to illegal immigrants. Doesn't help the taxpayers, doesn't help law-abiding citizens, but it flouts federal law, it ignores federal law, it violates federal law, and yet state employees here in Suffolk County, on Long Island, and throughout the state of New York are being forced to be put in a position where if they do the right thing and enforce federal immigration law, they stand a chance of losing their jobs. So you say, well, why are you doing this? We want to protect real employees who could actually have the temerity to stand up and say, you know, I can't do this. Because I know if I do this, I personally am in violation of federal law. The governor has openly said he would remove county clerks that do not adhere to the principle of the law and the law. A logical extension of that is any state employee who now presently does not have the protection could end up losing their job. Why? Because they're being law-abiding citizens and employees. This legislation would help fight that. I want to introduce my colleagues, but I want to give you one very telling line from the Senate. When this debate took place in Albany, the sponsor of the bill, Senator Sepulveda, when asked very directly, what's the purpose of this bill? He didn't talk about the driving public. He didn't talk about safety. He may have done it peripherally, but he openly said one sentence. The purpose of this bill is to prevent immigration enforcement. Plain and New York simple. It's all in the transcript. That's why we have to have these discussions. That's why Assemblyman Palumbo and his colleagues in the Republican conference are frankly disgusted with what they had to listen to in the New York State Assembly. I'm going to ask the Assemblyman, and I'm very, very grateful that he would be here and sponsor this legislation. He's going to go through some more of the details, and then we'll hear from some of our other colleagues. Assemblyman.